Hello and welcome. I hope everyone's doing good. Today I'm out here with my Sears Free Spirit bike with the bike bug motor on it, and I haven't done a video with it since way back in October, and it has been out of commission for a bit for two reasons. One, the fuel pump fitting broke, which you saw me address in my last three videos regarding the engine. If you're interested in seeing me tear the engine apart to get to that fuel pump and fix it, I recommend you go check those three videos out. Well, the second reason it's been out of commission is because for the longest time I have only had one drive roller between my two engines, this one and my tricycle. When I got each of the engines, they each had their roller on them, although the original rubber was deteriorated, as they pretty much all are from their age. So the known solution is to put a skateboard wheel over the metal hub. And so that's what I did with this one when I got it. But for a while, I would just trade them out between the two engines and never got around to putting a second skateboard wheel on the second hub. Well, just over a week ago that changed, and I now have a skateboard wheel on both roller wheels. But as you can see, they are different. First off, one's white, or at least it used to be white, but one's white and one's green. But as you can also see, the green one is bigger. The white one is a 50mm skateboard wheel, and this one is a 55. So, since the roller is driving the tire directly, the size of the roller will affect the gear ratio. So in theory, the larger size of this roller should give this bike a little higher top end speed, as well as a lower RPM when I'm riding at a regular cruising speed. So in this video, I wanted to do a little experiment where I do some runs and compare the performance between the two. I'm gonna strap my phone to the handlebars and use a speedometer app I've got to measure our speed. And I'm gonna do one run with the smaller roller, get up to top speed, measure that, and then probably about 15 miles an hour, see what the RPM is at, and then do a run with the larger roller and compare it. Now, I don't have a tack, unfortunately, so I don't have an exact way of measuring RPM, but using the video from the first run and judging by ear, I'm gonna try to get it as close as possible. So this might not be a completely accurate way of testing this, but it's more to just see if there's a noticeable difference anyway, not an exact measurement of that difference. So enough rambling. I'm gonna get all set up and we're gonna go do our first run. Okay, here's my janky phone setup. It's kind of all I had, but I'm gonna run over to the back street where it's nice and empty and straight, and that's where we'll do our test runs. Alright, I made it, but on the way here I decided to change something about the experiment. I don't really like to run my engines at top speed, if any, for a short little burst and not continuously. So I don't want to strain the motor trying to get a top speed run, and plus sometimes it runs sporadically at full throttle. Like, it'll sometimes run a certain speed and then it'll pick up for a second, and I don't know. So for those two reasons, we're not gonna do a top speed run. But what I am gonna do, I'm just gonna use my Speedo app and get up to 15 miles an hour and keep it there. And I'm gonna do that for both runs after we change to the green roller. And I am gonna compare the two videos and measure the sound of the RPM like I was talking about. And we'll see if they are different or not. But again, this isn't any crazy scientific experiment, so anyways, that's what I'm gonna be doing. So we're gonna do the run with the smaller roller now. And also real quick, I wanted to apologize for the one-handed operation. I don't have any way of filming from my head or my chest or anything, so it's the only thing I can do. So you'll see me having to grab the handlebar so I can shift it. But anyways, sorry for that. So let's hit it. Okay, I'm back from our first test run, and now we're gonna switch rollers and do the second run. So to take this roller off, we're first gonna have to remove the fender, which there are 2 screws behind the roller. If you can see it, it's not wanting to focus, but you can probably see them. And here's our fender. Next, we are gonna loosen this nut right here. And that is how we are gonna get the hub off. Now, it's always important to remember that your drive roller nut is left-hand thread. So you're gonna turn it clockwise to get it off. And with these skateboard wheel conversions, at least on mine, I have a lip of the hub that I can grab onto with some channel locks, which makes getting it off easier. Now the socket size for these are going to be a 13 millimeter. Off with the old, and this isn't being discarded. This is going to go on my tricycle permanently, and this one permanently is going to get the green one. So there is it's pointing that way. There is a cotter key. Actually, it's pointing down. There's a cotter key that we need to align with that slot. And there we go. Gonna put our nut back on. Now we're turning it counterclockwise, which is backwards from normal. Now I'm gonna crank down on it some, but not too hard. You don't wanna over torque it. Just snug is okay. And there we go. We have a new roller. But we're not done. As you can see, we have the engine lifted. The shift lever is down. but now our roller is touching the tire. Obviously this is happening because we put a bigger roller on there, so we're gonna have to compensate for that and adjust our adjusting rod to lift up our height. So let me get that done. So to adjust our roller height, we're gonna come over here to these two nuts, and we're gonna need two 10mm wrenches, and they're backed in against each other, so we're gonna loosen them, get them out the way, and then we're gonna grab our wing nut and tighten that, and that is gonna lift our roller up. And as you can see, it's lifting. However, it's starting to bind up, which means I'm at the max height it can go up because it's mounted too low on the forks. So I'm gonna have to unbolt it from the forks and lift it up some so it'll go higher. So more extra work. And if you're interested in how this motor mounts to here and all the features and parts of it, I have a video on my channel of mounting my other engine to my Schwinn tricycle. So go check that out if you're interested. So I've got some tedious work cut out for me, so I'll be back when it's all done. Alrighty, our drive roller height is now in spec, and that spec is around 5mm of a gap you want between the roller and the tire when it's lifted. The best thing to check that with is a 5mm Allen wrench. So that's all set now. I came over and locked this all back down. Now I just got to put the fender on, but I've realized that the bigger roller size means that I can't get my screwdriver on those screws. So I guess I'm gonna have to take the roller off, put the fender on, then put the roller back on. So let me do that, and then we will go do our second test run. There we go. That fender makes it look so much better. Anyway, let's go for another ride. Okay, we're back on the test track. Now last time I was trying to hold at 15, I kind of held at 16 for a good few seconds, so I'll try to be on the upper end of 15, between 15 and 16, to try to make it as accurate as possible. And we'll see later if there is a difference in RPM. So let's hit it again. And there you have it. The Free Spirit Bike Bug's new drive roller. I broke it in pretty good. Did a good few laps around the block and down all the other streets. So let's go take a look at that footage and see if there's any difference in the RPM going 16 miles an hour. Well, as you can see, the result is that the gearing did change. You can hear a slight difference in pitch of the RPM between the two runs. Very slight, about a musical half step in terms of musical pitch, but it is a slight difference in gear reduction. So your roller size affects the gear ratio of your bike bug engine. And what do you know? The loud birds are back. Always when I'm trying to film something out here, that or the helicopters. But anyways, I call that experiment a success. Now driving, the difference in acceleration or top speed or the gearing difference overall, it doesn't really feel any different, but it will allow me to go a little faster with less RPM. And there is even room in that fender for a much bigger skateboard wheel. So I could get some faster speeds out of this without changing engine speed. So I'm happy with the results. I now have 2 rollers, which means I can have both of my bike bugs operating simultaneously and not have one down while this one is on the other. So this will have a permanent home on the Bike Bug Deluxe trike. And again, this one is keeping the green one. So that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, found it entertaining, maybe helpful. Feel free to leave a like or a comment. And if you haven't seen any other of the videos on this bike or my tricycle, I encourage you to go check them out. And in the meantime, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.